In the animal kingdom, it seems like the big guys get all the breaks. But don't discount the little guy. Some tiny terrors have adapted ingenious and frightening ways to slay, proving once and for all that size doesn't matter. Who needs brawn when you've got lethal venom? These toxic micro-assassins aren't afraid to play dirty. Australia's Great Barrier Reef dazzles with its natural beauty. It's home to a vast array of life in every size and color. But in this idyllic natural oasis, things are not what they seem. One of the smallest and most striking creatures on the reef is also one of the most venomous creatures on Earth, the blue-ringed octopus. The blue rings only appear when the animal is frightened or threatened. When it's hunting, it goes into stealth mode, blending into the reef. Today, crab is on the menu, but this is no easy meal. The octopus must quickly subdue the feisty crab before its powerful claws damage its soft, boneless body. To do this, it harnesses the power of chemistry. Bacteria living in the octopus's salivary glands produce a lethal toxin that the eight-armed predator uses to full advantage. It bites off one of the crab's eye stalks and injects venom into the wound. The potent toxins almost instantly kill the crab, and the octopus begins to feast on its soft insides. As the sun sets over the Sonoran Desert, the predator night shift goes to work. This Arizona bark scorpion is the most venomous of its kind in North America. Its sting will easily paralyze an insect, but it's powerful enough to take down much larger animals. Deep below the desert sands, a grasshopper mouse tends to her litter. She must constantly leave the safety of the burrow to find food. And that puts her in harm's way. The scorpion drives its venomous spike right into her, but she just shakes it off. In fact, the mouse's unique nervous system actually uses the venom to stop the pain. This chemical counterstrike means that the scorpion's fearsome weapon is not only harmless, it actually helps its intended prey. Triumphant, the grasshopper mouse drags her victim underground to sustain her brood. Then re-emerges to howl at the moon. She's no helpless victim. She's a wolf in mouse's clothing. With vividly patterned skins, this family of tiny tropical tree frogs may seem charming. In reality, these candy-colored amphibians are a rainbow of death. They're called poison dart frogs. Most are under 2 inches long, some as small as ½ an inch. But beware, they ooze a toxic slime that can kill you. Depending on the species, their poison can be so potent, it can enter your bloodstream with just a touch of your hand. No wonder its Latin name is P. terribilis. In Colombia, one indigenous tribe has learned to harness their poison. The Embera-Choco people rub the tips of their hunting darts in the frog's toxic ooze, which they then use to take down prey. The poison dart frog may exist in a kaleidoscope of colors, but encountering one of these minuscule menaces could end in a fade to black. Tarantulas. Nothing makes you want to say more than these creepy monsters. Big and deadly. It's like they walked right out of a nightmare. But you know what scares them? This thing. It's a wasp known as a tarantula hawk. But as far as spiders are concerned, it's basically Jack the Ripper, Dracula, and the Saw Guy all wrapped in one. With a body less than 2 inches long, the female tarantula hawk outmaneuvers its much larger adversary. Even rolling over on its back to deliver a wrenching shot with its stinger. Humans rate this as one of the most painful stings in the insect world. And the wasp delivers it over and over again. So for this spider, it's got to be the end, right? Not even close. The tarantula is still alive and permanently paralyzed. Now, these winged terrors execute a grisly plan. They start by hauling their incapacitated bounty across the ground. A wasp will drag the spider over whatever obstacles are in its way. Back to its burrow. There, the killer buries the paralyzed tarantula, lays an egg on its abdomen, and seals it in the ground. Under the earth, a hungry spider wasp larvae hatches from the egg. And as this one demonstrates, the still living arachnid is a ready-made meal. The grub will eat for up to 20 days, saving the vital organs till the end. So its food is fresh and alive for as long as possible. The grub will eventually emerge as an adult. And now, this small wasp can do it all over again. Sometimes big powers come in small packages. Prey is no match for these super sensors. A mysterious creature lives here with one of the most impressive noses in the animal kingdom. In a subterranean world of perpetual darkness, surrounded by the crawling creatures on which it preys. Underground, eyes and ears are meaningless, and touch is everything. This is the realm of the star-nosed mole. It gets its name from the 22 appendages, or feelers, that surround its nose. Each feeler is covered with thousands of sensory receptors, called Eimer's organs, that make the star one of the most ultra-sensitive organs of any in the animal kingdom. It's so sensitive, it can detect minute particles, like a grain of salt buried in a pile of sand. The mole lives on worms, insects, and small fish. The outer tentacles probe for a potential meal. Then the inner sensors determine if the prey is edible. The mole is practically blind. To better see, it presses its feelers to the ground, which transmits a three-dimensional picture of the terrain back to its brain, like a mental sonogram. And when it presses down its feelers, it does it at warp speed. One of its favorite meals, earthworms. For the star-nosed mole, the worm's telltale segments and hooks are a dead giveaway. But to find it, the mole has to touch it. Its amazing ultra-sensitive feelers have rewarded it with yet another meal, to be enjoyed in the darkness of its creepy, super-powered world. Ultraviolet vision, supersonic radar, and tactile sensors put humans' 5 basic senses to shame. It floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. But this boxing decapod is far from being a heavyweight. In fact, at just 1 to 12 inches in length, it's a real shrimp, part of a group called the mantis shrimp. When it comes to killing, this small fry has a deadly array of tools, including the most complex eyes known to man. Each independently moving peeper has 16 color-analyzing cells arranged in bands. The human eye only has 3. The mantis shrimp uses these bands like crosshairs, and once prey is in its sights, the shrimp's other superpower is revealed. Strong, calcified club-like arms strike out at 50 miles an hour. One of the fastest movements in the animal kingdom. And it resembles the praying mantis, its land-loving namesake, in more ways than one. It's a gut punch of death for this crab, and a tasty meal for the shrimp. Incredibly, each knockout blow approaches the force of a .22 caliber bullet. All the better to bust open hard mussel shells for dinner. Even this octopus thinks twice when facing down the puny prawn. Maybe it knows the mantis shrimp also packs another hidden weapon, a spear-like claw. Perfect for a lightning-fast stab and grab. In the blink of an eye, it can turn soft-bellied prey into sushi. Though the mantis shrimp may be a lightweight, this underwater bruiser brings the thunder like a heavyweight champ. Inside this abandoned well lives a colony of nighttime assassins. Known as the myotis, or mouse-eared bat, these fanged creatures weigh little more than an ounce. But they are skilled solo predators. Underneath the tough but flexible wing skin is a layer of muscle, allowing the bat to rocket through the air, swiftly swoop, dive, and change directions as he hunts. And he does this fast. But what makes this speed demon even more amazing is that he isn't using his eyes to see. Contrary to popular belief, the bat is not blind, but he doesn't use his sight at night. Instead, he sends out high-pitched squeaks that bounce back at him, creating a sonic map of his surroundings. Known as echolocation, this helps him avoid obstacles, locate prey, and dive to grab it while moving at high speeds. When he's done, he returns to his cave, the evidence of his kill streaming behind him. As it winds its way through the rainforest, something captures this velvet worm's attention. It's not the fire beetle's flashing green light. Velvet worms are nearly blind, but they're super sensitive to air currents caused by movement. That's how they find their prey. And they love beetles. The worm moves so slowly, prey doesn't notice it creeping up. It's packing heat. Two pistols that fire sticky ropes, each up to a foot long. This barrage of gunfire is meant to paralyze prey with a quick drying adhesive. Slimed. The worm brandishes yet another concealed weapon. A knife in its jaw, used to pierce the body and inject saliva to liquefy the insides. The result? A beetle milkshake. For some of nature's fiercest little killers, it's all about attitude. That blood-curdling screech is the call of a mini mammal with a big, bad temper. Meet the bellowing, brawling Tasmanian devil. Adults and babies alike never get tired of snarling and biting one another. No surprise how they got their name. Australian settlers figured these devils must have clawed their way from hell. Their aggression starts from infancy. Mother devils are only pregnant for 3 weeks before they give birth. Like all marsupials, her babies are born blind and helpless. They must find their way to her pouch and life-saving milk. Life's first brutal test comes early. There could be 25 or more newborns, but mom only has 4 nipples. It doesn't take a math expert to know how that will turn out. No time to mourn. She eats her dead babies, so nothing goes to waste. These infants are the ones that beat the odds. By now, they've got a serious set of teeth. Pound for pound, an adult devil has one of the strongest bites in the world, able to slice through hide and crush bone. Mom is an easy target for biting practice. She's one tough mother, but everyone has their limits. After 7 months, she cuts the apron strings and leaves the den. with no plans to see her rowdy infants ever again. The little devils quickly go their separate ways. The next time they meet, it may be to battle over a rotten carcass. Live prey or putrid flesh, the little devil eats it all. And keeps eating, and eating, up to 40% of its body weight in a single meal. With a temperament like this, calories burn fast. A few more months is all it takes for a devil's scavenging skills to reach grisly perfection. Look who's all grown up. This youngster has devoured his way through bone and muscle, so he can hide in his dinner and have it all to himself. Mom would be so proud. Those fuzzy little ears. That cute little nose. There are few faces in the animal kingdom as adorable as that of the tiny stoat. Except when that face is bathed in blood. Weighing in at less than a pound and stretching just 12 to 13 inches from tooth to tail, this is a ruthless killer in disguise. From the moment they're old enough to pounce, these miniature cousins of the wolverine are preparing for the hunt. What looks like harmless play between two adolescents is actually a masterclass in killing. After all, your skills need to be sharp when you're hunting prey up to 10 times your size. The stoat will eat small rodents and lizards, but its preferred meal is the much larger rabbit. The second it decides to strike, its mind is set. It has only one goal: kill the rabbit. The stoat is so zeroed in on the chase, it completely ignores all the other potential meals standing around. But that single-minded focus pays off. The stoat wears the bounding rabbit down and digs into its back with non-retractable claws. Bunny lovers, look away now. Because this kill is neither quick nor merciful. Like the rest of it, the stoat's teeth are small, too small to reach the rabbit's spinal column or major arteries. The method by which it kills? Fear. After several agonizing minutes, the rabbit finally dies, believe it or not, of shock. And the stoat wastes no time savoring its spoils. At the end of the day, with 25% of its body weight consumed, the voracious stoat heads for home. And where is home? The stolen burrows of their slaughtered prey. A fact all the more gruesome when you consider they insulate that nest with fur from previous conquests. So give pause the next time you spy those cute little whiskers twitching in the sun. That adorable exterior hides a wild animal with a thirst for blood, a carnivorous mammal with a killing ability that far outweighs its small size. One of the boldest, deadliest mammals in the animal kingdom is also one of the smallest. The common shrew can be found in fields and gardens across the northern hemisphere. And while it may not look very intimidating, beneath that unassuming fur beats the heart of one insatiable killer. In fact, that killer heart beats an astonishing 1,300 times per minute, creating one of the most hyperactive metabolisms in nature. It takes a lot of fuel to keep this motor running, and a heightened sense of smell that can detect prey hiding underground. But just how hungry is this tiny mammal? Incredibly, the shrew must eat nearly its entire body weight each and every day just to survive. That means if it can't find prey, it dies. If it oversleeps, it dies. If it misses just one meal, it can die. The shrew is not going to let that happen. In the snow, underwater, anywhere there might be a life-sustaining meal, the shrew is on the hunt. And almost nothing is off the menu. And when it comes to the shrew, the smaller they are, the hungrier they get. The pygmy shrew, one of the smallest mammals on the planet, must consume up to 3 times its body weight every day. That's like a 175-pound man having to eat over 2,000 quarter-pounders each day. Almost 90 an hour. But shrews aren't the only ferocious predators lurking in the garden. A garter snake is on the prowl. If it can snag a big meal like the shrew, it won't have to worry about finding food for days. As it turns out, it won't have to worry about finding food ever again. The snake is too slow, and the shrew too cutthroat. The end comes quick for the much larger reptile. But for the shrew, there's no end in sight, and no end to its hunger. With only so many scorpions and snakes to go around, the shrew must protect its hunting grounds fiercely, especially against other shrews. These two will duke it out until one finally gives in. And to the victor go the spoils. Never slow down. Never stop hunting. Keep eating. Always. This is the unspoken mantra of the shrew, a little mammal with a killer personality. Beetles. They've been crawling around the Earth since the Jurassic period. Today, the order Coleoptera accounts for a staggering 25% of all known life forms. -1. What was that? The beetle was ambushed by the fearsome trapdoor spider, an arachnid whose murderous cunning matches its incredible speed. With rake-like fangs, it digs a hole in the dirt. Then, it fabricates a camouflage trapdoor out of the soil, using its own silk as a hinge. Tripwires of webbing stretch back to the burrow, where the sneaky spider waits like a bullet in a barrel. The second a hapless bug triggers one of the strands, death comes blazing. Like a demonic hand from hell, the trapdoor spider snatches its prey, injecting it with a paralyzing venom. Then, it's time to dine in the dirt. Most of the trapdoor spider's victims face a swift and certain doom. Though sometimes, Even the trapdoor spider jumps the gun. Then again, when you're as fast as this arachnid, there's always a second chance. Some of nature's tiniest tricksters know that it pays to be smart. This small, gremlin-looking tree dweller seems pretty innocent, with his fluffy tail and big eyes. But don't get too close. Considered an omen of bad luck, this rare predator is also one of the most notorious in Madagascar. This is the aye-aye. He's a greedy, grubby guy. Literally. Juicy wood-boring insect larvae, known as grubs, are a critical part of his diet. Armed with an extra-long clawed middle finger, he's on the move at night. To find the grubs, the aye-aye has an ingenious trick. Crawling through the trees, he knocks repeatedly on the outer bark, then listens for what may be moving underneath. With the grubs located, he begins chewing a hole in the tree, breaking into the larvae sanctuary. He's made progress, but the grubs are still out of reach. Luckily, his handy-dandy claw has another use. Poking and probing his finger dagger into the depths of the tree. He makes the steel, dragging out the grubs one by one. It's a lethal end for the grubs, victims of this aye-aye's latest raid. It feels right at home among deadly 3-inch thorns. It displays its kills like bloody trophies. Its Latin name, Lanius, means butcher. And it's a title that couldn't be more fitting. It is the shrike. A pretty little songbird with one killer dark side. Unlike bigger birds of prey, the 8 to 10-inch long shrike doesn't have large talons to tear apart victims. That's where the brainy bird gets creative. Like some airborne Vlad the Impaler, the shrike spears its victims on large pikes, both natural and man-made. Lizards, shriked. Snakes, shriked. Even other birds, shriked. Anything the bird can get on its spike is fair game. And once its quarry is skewered into place, the shrike can tear away chunks of flesh at leisure. After all, these bodies aren't going anywhere. This ingenious, if gruesome adaptation comes in particularly handy when the shrike is hunting one of its favorite foods, the lubber grasshopper. This big, meaty insect would make a good meal. But the lubber grasshopper also happens to be highly toxic. A deadly problem, but the shrike has an even deadlier solution. After employing its signature move, it leaves the grasshopper to stew on the thorn for days, until decay breaks down the poison, and the feast can commence. The piercing method is such an effective tool Some shrikes will even build up a surplus of kills, turning thorny plants into their own private pantries. With so much killing power packed into one bird, we should all be happy it's so small. Otherwise, our world might be a much more dangerous place. When you're a lightweight, facing an enemy alone is practically suicide. But get enough small soldiers together, and you can have an army of death. Army ants are nature's Mongol hordes, always on the move and ravaging everyone in their path. You can only run from them, and don't waste time, because when an ant colony is on the move, they rule the road. Anything that stands in their way will be overwhelmed. Army ants have large scissor-like jaws called mandibles. They use these weapons to slice their prey apart. They don't waste time eating and then digesting. While they're dicing up their prey, they spread a dissolving acid. Once flesh, muscles, and tendons melt down to a liquidized matter, they eat and keep going. The only defense is not moving a muscle. The soldier army ants are nearly blind. About all they can distinguish is light and darkness. So they detect prey by movement. This patrol is heading out to forage. If the scouts find food, they'll relay the news via scent back to the nest, so the colony can mobilize. This beetle is 6 times the size of one ant, but no match for an army. Some prey isn't eaten on the spot, but carved into pieces and toted back to the colony. A single ant can carry 20 times its body weight. Together, they can carry even more. They're so numerous, the total weight of the world's ants roughly equals the weight of humanity. Their numbers make them a natural insecticide, able to exterminate all animals on an entire patch of ground, at least till they move on. The meerkat kingdom stretches thousands of miles from coast to coast in southern Africa and is divided into individual square miles of sand scrub, ruled by protective meerkat mobs. It might not look like much, but for them, it's their entire world. Living in mobs of up to 50, meerkats create entire villages underground, extensive tunnels and room systems that protect them from predators and the hot African sun. Digging the home's a group affair. And when completed, there can be over 70 entrances. Because the territories of different mobs often overlap, disputes can break out at any moment. So for protection, the meerkats send out sentries, like this one, watching for invaders. Dark patches around his eyes help to reduce the glaring desert sun, and his long horizontal pupils give him a wide range of vision. In the distance, he spots another mob moving close. Many times an opposing clan will approach and turn away, but not today. To intimidate the invaders, the meerkats stand as tall as possible on all four legs, hair and tail erect. The two mobs eye each other warily, perform a war dance, and then attack. Wrestling one another to the ground and using their vicious canine teeth. The battles are brief, but brutal. Today, this meerkat mob is safe. But the guard stays ever vigilant for the next battle on the horizon. Home, young, and food sources are under constant threat for European honeybees. They live in colonies that are often 30,000 strong, constructing hives filled with wax, pollen, larvae, and of course, honey. A pretty valuable bounty for an invading army. When a honeybee hive faces off with Asian giant hornets, it takes just one recon mission to start a war. A single hornet scout spots a beehive. She marks it with a pheromone, and then returns with a hit squad. These giants are the world's largest hornet, 5 times the size of the average honeybee. And they're armed with a deadly venom. Their sting feels like a hot nail being driven into your flesh. Thousands of bees pour from the hive, ready to give their lives in its defense. But these European honeybees have no way to stop the onslaught. A single hornet can kill as many as 40 bees a minute. Just 30 of them can annihilate a colony of 30,000 bees in a few hours. It isn't a battle. It's a massacre. The ground is thick with the remnants of their victims. And the enemy penetrates into the inner sanctum of the hive. With the hive's defenders laid to waste, the hornets gorge themselves on the spoils of war. But honey isn't the main prize. Instead, they carry away the honeybee larvae and pupae, which will feed their young for weeks. There's nothing cute about a micro-killer on the attack. With savage skills and fierce weaponry, underestimate them at your peril. The kings of the ocean, sharks. With millions of years of evolution under their belts, these predators rule the sea by force, and they don't put up with anything, even from their own family. And anything with a pulse is fair game. Each shark has its own unique identity and useful superpower. But however these predators may differ, there's one common thread that links them all: the need to feed. Our planet is home to 2 starkly different kingdoms: land and water. Land animals often seem to get top billing. We get to see a lot of lion on zebra assaults, crocodile attacks on wildebeest, and lion-on-lion showdowns. But this time, we're going to shine some light on the fierce apex predators who roam the deep blue. The Great Barrier Reef, one of the world's natural wonders, stretching over 1,200 miles along the east coast of Australia. It's a place of beauty that entices tourists to explore its wonders. But other species travel here too, and they're not here to see the sights. One species that visits this remote island is the green sea turtle. The turtles swim for hundreds of miles to get to this tiny isolated speck on the Great Barrier Reef to lay their eggs. After a long night of digging and laying, this mama turtle heads back to the ocean to rest. Her eggs are safe for now, but she is not. There is another creature in these tropical waters, the tiger shark. The tiger shark lives at the top of the Great Barrier Reef food chain. It has the most varied diet of any shark and will eat almost anything. But today, it's here for one specific delicacy. This female tiger shark has excellent vision, an amazing sense of smell, and the ability to detect minute electric fields. All the turtle can do is hide motionless among the coral, using her shell as camouflage. She can stay underwater for up to 2 hours, but eventually she must come up for air. And waiting is 14 feet and 1,400 pounds of finely tuned predatory menace. Green sea turtles may have thick shells that protect their internal organs, but they can't retract their heads or flippers like some other species. With no flippers, the turtle is dead in the water. The shark's powerful jaws and serrated teeth pierce and crush the turtle's shell. Then spins in a death roll which tears its helpless prey apart. This mother turtle will never return from her visit to tropical paradise. But her death is not in vain. 2 months later, her precious eggs hatch, and a horde of baby green turtles struggle their way to the water. The surviving females will eventually make their own journey back to the isolated island to reproduce. And when they do, the tiger sharks will be waiting. It's hard to find a more formidable ocean killer than the tiger shark, but it's not the only shark in the sea. There's another species out there that can strike fear into the heart of even the most seasoned sailor, the great white shark. In the great white shark, evolution has created the ultimate killing machine. One of the most lethal sharks on Earth. One that other marine animals will do anything to avoid. Along the coast of South Africa, a large herd of fur seals is resting. On land, they are perfectly safe. But in the water, danger can always be lurking. At over 100 pounds, an adult fur seal would be a good meal for a shark. But a seal that's lived this long has learned ways to avoid great whites. The younger seals don't know enough to be afraid. A shark can pick them off at will. But seal pups are too small to keep this shark satisfied for long. Because at more than 20 feet and weighing 2 tons, there's a lot of great white to feed. The great white shark is a finely tuned organism with 2 huge bands of tail muscle powering a massive jaw through the ocean. To fuel all this activity, it has to feed regularly. And when prey is sparse, the great white isn't above a little scavenging. This whale was struck by a tanker not far from the seal colony and now provides a bounty for this hungry great white. A great white's jaws aren't fused to its skull, so it can open wide and take huge bites. When food is just there for the taking, the great white can eat 400 pounds in a single feeding. But scavenging is not what puts the great white at the top of the food chain. It is its relentless pursuit of live prey. The whale carcass is just a brief distraction from the hunt. On the beach, the seals take turns looking for the shark's telltale fin and head. Great whites have excellent eyesight, both underwater and above. They're the only known fish species that will spy hop or stick its head out of the water to see what's on the surface. Sight is so important to a great white that in the last seconds of an attack, it rolls its eyes back into its head to protect them. Many great whites have scars around their eyes from seal bites. A seal's sharp teeth are one of its main lines of defense. The older seals know what's waiting for the younger and unlucky. But they have no choice. Shark or no shark, they have to risk going into deeper water. That's where the food is. But the shark has more than speed, good eyesight, and surprise on its side. It can hear extremely well and can detect motion from over a mile away. Its face is covered with jelly-filled pouches that are so sensitive to electric fields, it can detect muscle movement and heartbeats. Fur seals are fast and extremely agile. If they sense danger, they can dive deep to avoid it, lying in wait. The other seals flee, but they can't relax for long. This meal will only hold the shark for 2 days. Then it will be back, and the hunt will start all over again. If you think the great white has a killer appetite, there is another shark whose appetite proves to be even more insatiable. When it comes to killer appetites of the sea, sharks are leaders of the pack. The great white may be the most powerful and efficient shark in town, but when it comes to the sheer number of things it will eat, the tiger shark has it beat hands down. Not quite as big as a great white, the tiger shark is just as aggressive, maybe more so, and it will feed on just about anything, or at least try to. Case in point, in Australia, researchers have attached a chum bag to the end of a metal pole. Will the shark bite? Before long, it takes the bait. And not long after that, it takes the pole. Sharp teeth and a massive mouth shear the rod in half. And this living garbage disposal swallows it whole. Thankfully, for these daring divers, attacks on humans are extremely rare. But maybe they should be more worried about their camera gear. Ever wonder what it would look like to get eaten by a shark? Like this. Only with a little more blood. The list of items found in tiger shark's guts include license plates, oil cans, a fur coat, even a suit of armor. But when they're not going medieval on inanimate objects, tiger sharks do like a little protein in their diet. Like a Wild West roundup. These tiger sharks corral a school of sardines into one giant, spinning mass of easy pickings. But if there's one food these rapacious tiger sharks seem to crave, it's albatross. Specifically, fledgling albatross that have yet to learn how to fly. Every year, tiger sharks turn these Central Pacific shallows into a seaside snack bar. Slaughterhouse might be a more accurate term. The feast can last for days, and while there's only a finite number of fledglings to eat, for an oceanic omnivore that treats the world like an all-you-can-eat buffet, the possibilities are endless. Still, sometimes size does matter. The bigger the prey, the bigger you have to be. And prey doesn't get much bigger than this. On the beaches of California and Mexico, tens of thousands of northern elephant seals return to breed. Males spend weeks battling while they wait for the females to arrive. These enormous males can grow to weigh almost 3 tons. But their biggest threat isn't from their own. These horrific wounds were inflicted by something else. A nightmare that stalks them just off the beach. This young female is arriving late, and all by herself in dangerous waters. Dangerous because the largest predatory shark in the world is back in town. Elephant seal cows are much smaller than bulls. Even so, only a full-grown great white shark will tackle an elephant seal. This one is 12 years old, 15 feet long, and weighs almost a ton. Her victim is young, and has no idea she's being stalked. The shark hits the unsuspecting seal from below and behind. One strike is lethal. The shark takes her time, letting the seal bleed out. Then returns to claim her meal. Another great white joins the feast. All that remains is a crimson tide. How's that for a killer diet? Sharks deserve their reputation as the fiercest predators in the sea. But even for them, things don't always turn out exactly like they planned. Sharks are among the ocean's ultimate hunters. They stalk their prey with finely tuned senses. We've already seen the trash can of the sea, the tiger shark, engage these senses. And at a half a ton and 14 feet long, we've seen this shark effortlessly tear its victims apart with razor-sharp teeth. You'd think there's nothing that would challenge this oceanic killer. But the ocean is a very big and unpredictable place. Off the coast of Costa Rica, a tiger shark cruises just below the surface. This is his normal hunting ground, but today he has company. Orcas are highly intelligent, predatory whales that feed on a wide variety of prey. This pod of transients is cruising the ocean looking for a meal of its own. There might not be room in this town for both orcas and tiger shark. The orcas don't hesitate in taking on the 7-foot shark. The brainy whales work together to flip the shark upside down. In this position, the shark slips into a zombie-like state called tonic immobility. It can't even bite back when the whales tear into it. And just like that, the trash can of the sea is trashed. Regardless of size, all sharks deserve respect. Even this one, a 3-foot shark known as the dogfish. Today, he's lining up a soft, squishy snack, a giant Pacific octopus, the largest of its kind in the world. If you think this would be an easy takedown, you'd be wrong. This formidable opponent has an arsenal of its own. The boneless beast manages to escape the shark's lethal attention by emitting a concealing cloud of ink. And now, it can shift from defense to offense, using another of its secret weapons. Specialized skin cells enable it to change both color and texture, and vanish into its surroundings. As the hungry shark swims by, the octopus makes its move. The dogfish is enveloped in 8 suction cup-lined arms. Hidden among the folds, the octopus's parrot-like beak delivers paralyzing venom. Unable to swim and pass water through its gills, the dogfish drowns. The 8-armed fighter is victorious in this battle of the predators. This lemon shark pup is around 2 feet long and comes complete with a full set of razor-sharp teeth. Most newborn sharks are mini versions of mom. The pups arrive hungry and ready to hunt. But some are even deadly while they're still in the womb, becoming predator and prey at the same time. The infamous sand tiger sharks are 10-foot-long, ragged-toothed nightmares. In fact, the adults look more fearsome than they really are. The babies, they're just the opposite. Nowhere does bloody infighting start as early as it does in the realm of the sand tiger shark. This shark mother will do anything to secure her favorite child's future. Her plan has hatched at courtship. She mates with as many males as she can, eventually producing about a dozen embryos. And that's where things start going downhill. The babies start killing before they're even born. This 2-inch-long sand tiger is already on the hunt, and it's still about 8 months from birth. The tiny embryo has fed on its yolk sac. Now, it swims through its mother's uterus, looking for more. The only food available are the still developing eggs of its siblings. It's his reward for growing fastest and hatching first. This little cannibal is weeding out potential rivals before they're even born. When other eggs hatch, he has a plan for them too. When it began, this shark shared the womb with countless eggs and a half-dozen other embryos. By the time it's ready to be born, it's the only one left. Almost. Sand tiger mothers have 2 uteri. While the feeding frenzy was taking place on her right side, its macabre mirror image was playing out on her left. For the baby shark, it's kill or be killed. And once they are born, they are immediately abandoned. Luckily for them, they've already gone through survival training and are clearly able to fend for themselves. 2 offspring already experienced in the art of killing. 2 of the deadliest newborns in the animal kingdom. And when we think of sharks, it's their raw power we usually focus on. But there's more to being an apex predator than big muscles and sharp teeth. 400 million years ago, a shark evolved unlike any other of its kind, with abilities all its own. Hammerhead sharks have some of the most amazing eyes in the natural world. The bizarre head that gives this predator its name has been the source of fascination and bewilderment. Theories abound. Many believe the head evolved as a kind of specialized rudder. Allowing the shark to whip its body quickly upwards, backwards, and side to side. It appears the shark does use its shape to facilitate lightning-fast agility in the water. But what may be even more useful to this graceful carnivore is vision from its eyes at the very edge of the head's wide hammer. Eyes that can see nearly everything around them. With eyes spread wide, the shark has spectacular vision. With a move to the right, the shark can even see far behind. With a move to the left, the same. In fact, these eyes are positioned to give the hammerhead panoramic vision. It's a super-powered predator because of amazing eyes. But also because this elegant shark has yet another, even bigger trick. Sharks have a sixth sense, the ability to detect electric currents in the world around them. Sharks are among the most streamlined and efficient hunters on Earth. And they've honed all their senses into lethal weapons. Sight, smell, taste, touch, and sound. But a shark not only sees and hears its prey, it can feel it. First, many sharks have a sensory organ that runs the length of the shark's body and fans out on its head and jaw. Called the lateral line, it's full of nerves that pick up subtle vibrations and pressure changes in the water. Next, pores in the shark's head, called ampullae of Lorenzini, are groups of sensory cells that can detect weak electrical charges, such as the heartbeats or muscle movements of a creature hidden in the sand. Each ampulla is filled with a jelly-like substance that reacts to changes in pressure, temperature, or electrical conductivity. These pores are so sensitive that if two flashlight batteries were placed 1,000 miles apart and a single wire were strung between them, a shark could detect the charge. When hunting for a meal, sharks may call upon all of their senses. The distant sound of splashing might alert them to possible prey. Or perhaps the scent of blood draws them in. Closer in, their excellent eyesight may come into play. Vision and ampullae of Lorenzini, along with smell and hearing, all function in unison to plot a deadly path. A bone-crushing, artery-splitting bite satisfies the shark's sense of taste. Sharks like hammerheads and great whites use powerful weaponry and sensory apparatus to dominate their environment. But there's another species of shark that's evolved to actually change its environment and find new prey to devour. There's a visitor who's found a new territory to dominate. And this predator is on the hunt for a midday meal. The bull shark. a terrifying surprise in the fresh water of the Amazon. Normally, bull sharks cruise the warm coastal waters around the globe, including the South American coastline. But unlike other sharks, they can also survive in fresh water, enabling them to take their appetites upriver. They've been spotted over 2,000 miles up the Amazon, as far west as Peru. Which is strange, because sharks need a certain amount of salt in their bodies to survive. If a great white swam into fresh water, for example, its cells would rupture, and it would die within hours. But a bull shark would still be swimming strong. How can this be? A special gland near its tail enables the bull to store salt, while its specialized kidneys recycle the salt already in its body. This adaptation enables it to hunt in brackish and fresh waters, off limits to other sharks. Here, bulls are the unsurpassed predators, reaching over 11 feet and weighing up to 500 pounds. Giant otters, caiman, river dolphin. The Amazon's usual predators suddenly find the tables turned. Now, they're just another potential meal. In murky water, the bulls rely on their keen sense of smell. Over a quarter of a shark's brain is devoted to this one sense. Its nose can locate prey and pinpoint where it is. Their special sensors detect the faint electrical field generated by all living things, guiding them directly to prey and in for the kill. Serrated teeth work like saws, tearing loose a chunk of flesh to swallow whole. Bull sharks have the best of both worlds, with the ability to survive and hunt in both fresh and salt water, making their food options vast. And with a bull in the water, other inhabitants must tread lightly. With an approach that has been perfected and honed for hundreds of years, the great white shark has proven to be one of the ocean's ultimate warriors. It's the shark's mouth that gets most of the attention. 300 serrated teeth arranged in 7 deadly rows work together as a saw to rip prey apart. It has an estimated bite force of 4,000 pounds per square inch. That's more than a lion, tiger, and hyena bite combined. But a great white shark is more than a mouth. It possesses the full ninja arsenal. It hunts by stealth, moving quietly through the sea. Its white underbelly helps it blend in from below. To find its prey, it's equipped with incredible skills. With a superhero sense of smell, the shark can sniff out a single drop of blood floating in 10 billion drops of water. Ear openings above the great white's eyes help it hear the tiniest of ripples. Eyes designed to see in daylight or night. And of course, its amazing sixth sense, which allows the shark to detect an electric field. Today, All of these powers aid this shark in finding the perfect prey, a seal. Its torpedo-like shape and powerful tail help it swim at speeds up to 35 miles per hour. When the shark is ready to unleash its jaws, it leaps to snare the seal in midair. For this predator, being the ultimate ninja master of the ocean makes him a warrior you don't ever want to swim across. The great white shark is the king of the ocean. Embracing the spotlight, he cruises the water with a don't mess with me attitude. And then there's his Western Pacific cousin. This frilly mess of a fish doesn't exactly fill you with dread, but his stealthy approach will. This is the tasseled wobbegong shark, and he runs one of the biggest cons in the ocean. With a flattened body and spotted skin, the tasseled wobbegong is covered in rug-like blankets of fringe. These dense tassels are actually complex layers of dermal lobes. It's a critical player in his deadly game. The clever camouflage eerily replicates the coral reefs. Almost invisible, the shark hides among rocks, lying in wait. When unsuspecting fish swim by, the wily predator launches an ambush. And here's where the shark family resemblance kicks in. It pulls its jaws apart and literally sucks the prey into its mouth. 5 rows of fang-like teeth finish off the job. With unsuspecting looks, meals come a bit easier for this low-lying predator. Looks aren't deceiving to just unsuspecting prey. Sometimes, the beauty of the deep blue deceives the people who explore it. And if you enter a shark's lair, you may just get a little too close for comfort. As it is on land, run-ins with toothy animals are possible. Dive underwater, and you can expect to encounter all kinds of animals. What you might not expect is a touchy-feely experience. This diver ran into a Humboldt squid that tried to remove his mask. San Diego, California, a city built around the Pacific Ocean. It's a watery playground for both tourists and residents. But over 30 different types of sharks, including the great white, live under the waves. Over 20 of them are potentially dangerous to humans. Once again, expertise is no guarantee of safety. This professional diver, a pioneer in photographing sharks without being in a cage, is out taking pictures when she runs into one of her subjects.
Give her some help out of the water.
Oh, that one's cut right into your wetsuit.
I tell you, it's cut right through my leg.
How bad is it?
Hell. I'll have to look. Oh! Wait and see if you're going to die.
Lie down. Sit down. Get Coast Guard.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
horrified.
yeah, it's a bad one.
I think
You're watching down
I
there.
was watching a shark up near the head. Suddenly, wham! Damn it! Damn it! Why did he have to do that to me?
Have to get that stitch. That's a bad one.
She had to be rescued by a helicopter and required over 300 stitches. Most people would rate a confrontation with a great white shark as their #1 nightmare, and for good reason. Roughly 1/3 of all shark attacks are due to this massive meat eater. Great whites are naturally curious and aren't out to eat humans, but they remain one of the most aggressive predators in the sea. Swimmers and beachgoers live in fear of them. Surfers are especially at risk for a run-in with a great white, because from under the water, they look just like seals, a shark's all-time favorite meal. Recently, off the coast of Australia, 5 attacks took place in less than 10 months, and all resulted in death. There is a primeval allure that draws people into the ocean, despite the danger that lurks below. Which means that humans will continue to cross paths with this 7,000-pound force of nature. And the more of us who take to the water, the more frequent our interactions with sharks will be. Sharks are the ocean's tour de force. There are over 500 species of sharks in the world, and the ocean is their playground. Some have reached icon status, like the ferocious great white, while others keep a much lower profile. These predatory hunters have shown what it takes to master the art of the kill. From genetics to ninja senses and the ability to adapt, these sharks have muscled their way to the top of the apex predator list. And though there may be some challenges along the way, success is what sharks know best. There is no wonder sharks have outlasted and outsurvived most other animals. So, other sea species beware. These apex predators are on the prowl. And if you fall within their diet, you're bound to send these kings of the sea into a shark frenzy. When it comes to killer weapons, these predators are armed to the teeth. From hungry Goliaths to tiny terrors, razor-sharp fangs and bone-crushing jaws take a bite out of the competition. When you're this big, it's one bite, and then good night. A typical day in the life of a hippo may not be what you'd expect. For a giant that weighs as much as a car, they are surprisingly peaceful. They're vegetarians. They like to play in the mud. They kindly coexist with birds. And they spend about 16 hours of every day in the water. Most of it just chilling. A watering hole on the African savanna is a serene hippo oasis. Unless something or someone sets him off. Males are dangerously territorial, especially when it comes to defending a watering hole. In Zambia, this male hippo is enjoying a quiet swim when an uninvited guest appears to challenge his domain. Detecting the threat, this 8,000-pound gentle giant unleashes his jaws of hell. Able to open their mouths up to 150 degrees, a hippo has one of the most powerful bites of any land mammal. So it's safe to say, what hippo smashes stays smashed. Bottom line, keep the peace. Don't mess with a hippo. Big cats are proven killers, and most use the same technique. A bite to the throat. It can be a slow and messy affair. Much too slow for one cat. The jaguar doesn't go for the throat, it goes for the brain, delivering instant death with just one power-packed bite. The secret to the jaguar's head-splitting talent is its massive canines, long and sharp enough to pierce the prey's brain case and turn out the lights in a heartbeat. Found silently stalking through Central and South America, jaguars measure up to 8 feet from nose to tail and weigh up to 250 pounds. They have no fear of water and are powerful enough to crack a turtle shell. But despite their imposing bulk, they're masters of this stealthy speed kill. The jaguar's patterned coat blends into the shadows of the jungle as it prepares to strike. Today, it eyes the thick skull of the peccary. Then, with a quick bite, it's game over. Their cousins in Africa and Asia may get all the fame, but when it comes to the art of the death chomp, jaguars are the real kings of the jungle. It's an apex predator with a mouth of epic proportions. The saltwater crocodile, owner of the strongest bite on Earth. The croc's jaws can crush down with 3,700 pounds of force. With that power, it can make a meal out of anything it wants. Sea turtles, boars, even sharks. Ranging from Southern Asia to Australia, these notorious ambush killers are the largest crocodiles in the world, easily growing to 20 feet in length. In fact, the monster memorialized by this statue was reported to be over 28 feet long. That's big enough to make mincemeat of a 1-ton water buffalo. Salties are long-distance swimmers. When driven by the need to feed, they'll migrate hundreds of miles out into open ocean. They're usually solitary. But one thing that can bring them together: food. And sometimes, that unending group hunger leads to some pretty gruesome meals, like human beings. In 1945, during the Battle of Romrey Island, over 1,000 Japanese troops fled into a swamp. Allied forces surrounded them, but the Japanese refused to surrender. Saltwater crocodiles did the rest. As few as 20 Japanese soldiers survived the onslaught. There's stiff competition for the title of world's most voracious reptile. But that's just the kind of challenge the saltwater crocodile can sink its teeth into. Large and in charge. That's the trademark of this Arctic king. This solitary emperor holds the crown for the world's largest land carnivore. His kingdom is the vast Arctic North, a remote and harsh region where every day is an epic struggle for existence. To survive, the polar bear must be skilled in both smarts and strategy. He is equipped with perhaps nature's most effective fur coat, with an inner layer that retains heat and an outer layer that repels water and ice. It also allows this top predator to travel thousands of miles while reflecting light and blending into its surroundings. But even a king has his issues. His world is made of ice, so it's constantly shifting or melting. And that's where his paws come into play. They're broad so he can keep his balance, covered in fur and equipped with claws to grip the ice. And when the ice ends, the paws are partially webbed, so they can double as oars while he swims, over 60 miles at a time. But to do so, he must consume over 4 pounds of fat daily, and he's got powerful jaws to seal the deal. Thinking he's safe, this seal pops his head up for some air. Little does he know, a polar bear is taking inventory. The end result? A dead seal and a bloody but sated king. They stalk, crawl, and wait. Stealth assassins know the power of patience. White flowers, fragrant symbols of innocence. What could possibly be deadly about these bountiful blossoms? There she is, the crab spider. And she's waging a war of delicate destruction. While other spiders spin a web to hunt, disguise and surprise is this deadly predator's MO. She hides in plain sight, waiting, mobilizing. The ambush is laser precise. A quick grab with the legs, then the spider bites, paralyzes, and sucks the butterfly dry. But not every flower is white. So when some crab spiders can't find a white flower to help them hunt, they adjust. It takes a few days, but a girl's gotta eat. Time to go undercover. Two cell layers play an important role. When the upper layer is clear, the spider appears white. But when she sees a yellow flower, she creates a yellow pigment in the upper layer. The lower layer, acting as a mirror, reflects light through the yellow pigment, making her appear yellow. Now hidden, this color-shifting transformer just has to sit and wait for her prey to come. Why weave a web when you can simply change your color? On the African plains, it's already hard enough to avoid getting killed by the big cats. They're fast, hungry, and aggressive. But this guy takes hunting to the next level. He attacks from above. Leopards are experts of the ambush attack, climbing a tree and camouflaging themselves within the foliage. In fact, for the leopard, the tree is his castle. It's where he sleeps. It's where he gets his exercise. And it's where he sits silently scoping for prey. Using his curved ears to capture 5 times more sound waves than a human, they alert him to even the smallest sounds. And this leopard hears something. An impala. Quiet and calculating, his soft paws muffle his movements. And really, it's not quite fair, because this guy has no idea he's supposed to look up. The kill comes with a strong bite to the neck. To protect his meal, the leopard drags the impala back to his tree perch. Where he will feast on it for days. One of Brazil's wild residents is legendary for its bizarre feeding habits. A creature whose very name sends a shiver down the spine. The vampire bat. The only mammal on Earth to dine exclusively on blood. It doesn't land directly on its victim, but touches down nearby and silently creeps towards it. The tiny vampire uses heat sensors on its nose to zero in on where warm blood is close to the skin's surface. Unlike Hollywood vampires, the bats don't suck up blood through hollow fangs. They use razor-sharp canine teeth to slice open the skin, then lap up the flowing blood with their tongues. A powerful anticoagulant keeps it flowing until the vampire is full. A 2-ounce bat can double their weight in one bloody meal. Vampire bats are the only bat on Earth that can take off directly from the ground. Back in its lair, a surprising sight of these nightmarish animals is revealed. They share their gory meals with family and friends. Its bite may not kill, but the vampire bat is always out for blood. Many top hunters look the part, but it's hard to picture some as ruthless killers. On land, the leopard seal's looks are deceiving. In the water, this is one of the Antarctic's deadliest hunters. But on the beach, an adult seal can barely roll over, let alone pose a serious threat. For the penguins, this leopard seal is little more than a speed bump on their path to the water, albeit a large speed bump at 10 feet and 1,000 pounds. But when the seal drops into the water, it's transformed. With a streamlined body and powerful flippers, it can reach speeds of 14 miles per hour and turn on a dime. You might not even notice its most terrifying feature until it opens its mouth. Sharp, 1-inch canines. The seal's tactics are pretty simple. Swim along the edge of a penguin colony, staying underwater and out of sight. And there's nothing complicated about the kill either. It grabs a penguin by the feet and repeatedly beats it against the surface. The seal literally smashes it to pieces. Then it can eat the flesh and the fatty parts, letting the rest float away. Leopard seals are the Antarctic's version of Jaws, with an appetite to match. Blink and you'll miss it. Speed eaters bring new meaning to the phrase. Grab a quick bite. In the swamps and rivers of the American South, there's a creature that sits very still, appearing to live its life at a very, very slow pace. But don't be fooled. It's got hair-trigger jaws. The alligator snapping turtle has a taste for food so fresh, even the fish don't know they're dead yet. Growing up to a colossal 220 pounds, a snapper will spend almost its whole life underwater, surfacing only to breathe every 40 to 50 minutes. At night, it'll root around in the muck, searching for plants and carrion to gnaw on. But during the day, it's all about the ambush. Alligator snappers even have a built-in lure, a small bit of flesh that looks like a wiggling worm in its mouth. The fish, oblivious to the big motionless monster, find the bait irresistible. And in an instant, hooked jaws either catch the prey whole or skewer it. So it's easy to see why researchers and fishermen have learned to respect these jaws. Because with a bite this fast, catching a meal is a snap. Cheetah, peregrine falcon. These are some of the fastest moving animals on Earth. But there's a creature with no legs or wings that is still lightning fast, in more ways than one. The black mamba. Sneaky, slithering, and reaching up to 14 feet. The mamba is quick, able to travel more than 12 miles per hour, making him the fastest venomous snake in Africa. But the mamba mostly uses that speed to protect itself from a threat. To perform his lethal kills, he relies on a completely different type of speed. It starts with his quick-moving tongue, a rapid little appendage which he flicks to detect the scent of prey. When he's in range, he stops and waits for the rat with poor vision to mistakenly come to him. And that's when another speedy skill enters the equation: his strike, which happens in a split second. But this warrior's real lethal power comes from something his victims can't even see: his swift-acting venom. This neurotoxin rapidly paralyzes and kills. Humans can die in 20 minutes. Sweet baby chicks, much, much faster. Anything that wants to take on a black mamba must either have a death wish or be really, really fast. Meet the mongoose, a mammal from the family Herpestidae that makes the mamba look like a chump. The darting mongoose dodges every one of the serpent's strikes. And when the moment is perfect, it scores the kill in less than 2 seconds. Ranging from Africa to southern Asia, mongooses will feed on just about any meat. But it's a taste for snake that makes them notorious. A cobra nest. Delicious. Of course, the grown-ups are the ones that pose a challenge. India, home of a dreaded killer. The spectacled cobra. They're highly venomous and blindingly quick, just the way the Indian gray mongoose likes them. Cobra venom is ineffective on mongooses, but a bite could still create a lethal infection. Trapped, the snake goes on the offensive. The furry speed demon has perfect reflexes, matching the hooded cobra's every move. Then, with a fatal bite, the dance is over. And just to make sure, dinner is served. We've seen how quickly some members of the animal kingdom make their kills. But the plant kingdom has a fast-killing carnivore of its own. Enter the Venus flytrap. Actually, don't enter it, because you'll probably never get out. It may seem like a real-life swamp monster, but it's actually a plant indigenous to North America, where poor soil conditions have stirred its carnivorous cravings. When an insect triggers the tiny hairs in a flytrap's maw, it snaps shut in a startling 1/10 of a second. Struggling to escape only tightens the trap, where enzymes digest the imprisoned prey over the next 10 days. And while bugs may be the usual quarry, Venus flytraps have been known to go for larger game. Usually, their eyes are bigger than their stomachs. But sometimes, the eyes have it. So watch out, Animal Kingdom. When it comes to split-second killers, the high-velocity Venus flytrap is nipping at your heels. This creature sees the world differently. To him, this forest is not a realm of give and take. No compromise, no bargaining. The chameleon is like a terminator of the reptile kingdom. And woe be to any insect that gets in its way. As he hunts, he crawls and creeps, careful not to disturb any unsuspecting prey. As he continues, he changes color, adjusting to the temperature and communicating his mood. Capable of seeing up to 180 degrees in any direction, he doesn't miss a beat or a cricket. He doesn't need to be close. In fact, it's better if he's not. And then, the chameleon unleashes a tongue from hell. It shoots out, and in mere milliseconds, doubles the length of his body. Accelerating from 0 to 20 feet per second, the chameleon annihilates prey. Hasta la vista, insects. Lurking in the depths of this Irish lake is a creature notorious for its super-fast death jump. A real-life water monster, the northern pike. It's named for its resemblance to the deadly medieval weapon, because this is one deadly fish. The pike hunts with shocking speed. And a mouth full of needle-sharp teeth, which keep it at the top of the freshwater food chain. In areas where it's an invasive species, the northern pike eats so much, it tends to decimate the ecosystem. But it doesn't just feed on fish. This gilled gobbler likes surf and turf. Before this vole knows what's what, it's fish food, but the pike's hunger doesn't end there. It's even developed a taste for tender young waterfowl. This little duckling never stood a chance, taken down with just one bite. But what really gives the pike its gluttonous reputation is its habit of stuffing its face. Unlike the piranha, it prefers to swallow prey whole, using its highly acidic stomach juices to digest large meals quickly, so it can eat again. But it's a method that can backfire. Pikes sometimes bite off more than they can chew, choking to death on their oversized snacks. The northern pike, a fish infamous for its seafood diet, because it eats just about everything it sees. What's scarier than a mouth full of teeth? Try a mob of hungry mouths headed straight for you. Of all the group hunters on Earth, these are among the biggest. On the African savanna, lions sit at the top of the food chain. Females do most of the hunting, while males rest and protect territory. Lions rely on teamwork to survive. They will take on prey more than twice their size. A full-grown zebra can weigh more than half a ton. One kick from those hooves can break a lion's jaw. Lions are sprinters, not marathoners. They can hit 34 miles an hour, but only for a few seconds. So they team up, approaching their prey from different angles. Zebras learn to keep their distance, but one zebra is about to violate the first rule of the safari. Always stay with the group. She'll go for the typical death blow, a bite to the neck, crushing the windpipe. While the team surrounds their prey. Of all the world's cats, lions are the only ones that are social, especially at dinner time. After a kill is made, males always eat first. Then the females. What's left goes to the cubs. Often, not enough. One reason most will not survive into adulthood. But even Africa's biggest cats need to watch their backs. Someone out there wants to mooch their meal. Few creatures would dare confront a proud lioness, but few creatures are as bold as a pack of hyenas. Like a humble house cat, the lioness takes refuge in a tree. Proof that a whole pack trumps one queen. Hyenas are good thieves, but they're also efficient hunters. Among the most prolific predators in Africa. Today, on the open plains of the Serengeti, their strategy is simple. Form a semicircle around this herd of wildebeests and pick off stragglers. Lions kill their prey before consuming them, but hyenas eat their prey alive. With powerful jaws and a cast iron stomach, they can crush and digest bone. The calcium from within the bone turns the hyena's feces white. And they're the only carnivore that eats hides. Only hair and horns go to waste. They can eat up to 1/5 their weight in one sitting. And they can eat rotten flesh, so leftovers are buried for later. Out here, hyenas are one mob that grazers and carnivores alike don't want to run into. They may look bite-sized, but these ruthless fighters munch above their weight. It has the fastest moving jaws on Earth, exerting a force hundreds of times its own body weight. No, not this guy. This guy. The aptly named trapjaw ant. It's armed with supersized mandibles that lock in ready position at 180 degrees, the instant any of the sensory hairs are touched. Remind you of anything? The jaws snap shut in 130 microseconds. That's an insanely fast 140 miles an hour. The quickest predatory appendages in the animal kingdom. And they reach a peak force 300 times the ant's own body weight. Compare that to the relative bite force of a great white shark, which barely even approaches its own weight. The trapjaw ant's amazing power and speed is ideal for dealing death quickly, be it to prey or even other trapjaw ants. Now imagine if they were as big as them. Besides being oversized scissors on 6 legs, these ants have developed another ingenious use for their jaws. When a trapjaw ant feels threatened, it can snap its mandibles on the ground or a nearby object and propel itself out of harm's way. It's like having an ejector seat built onto its face, one that can vault it vertically 6 times its body length. This trapjaw ant is being bullied by 2 of its own kind. But thanks to its giant spring-loaded mandibles, escape is a snap. 5 ants are bearing down on this lone wolf. But like a little Evel Knievel, it makes a jaw-dropping backwards jump to freedom. Of course, it's also been known to backfire. This ant tries to take a chunk out of a grubworm, but accidentally launches itself out of biting range. Just a momentary inconvenience for the mighty trapjaw ant. Speedy escapes and super quick kills. This is one hair-trigger predator we can all be happy isn't nearly as big as its bite. In Africa, instead of quick, another arthropod goes for quantity. African driver ants. Feared by humans and every other resident of this tropical forest. Because together, they're not a collection of tiny insects. They're a single coordinated super predator. They overwhelm their victims with sheer numbers, cut them to pieces, and take them back to feed the colony. Scouts fan out ahead, looking for more. Today, they've struck the jackpot. A forest termite mound. A scouting party breaches the fortress walls and infiltrates the tunnels. Then, the army launches a full-scale invasion. Deep inside the mound lives another army dominated by a giant bloated queen. Huge soldier termites guard the tunnels. They are the first to spot the invaders. They bang their heads on the ground to warn them off, but the ants are relentless. The tunnel guards are overrun. In the Queen's chamber, her guards desperately barricade the entrance and attempt to move her huge bulk to safety. The fighting is savage as the 2 armies go jaw to jaw. Casualties mount on both sides. The ants are pushed back, then mount a second wave, pushing deeper into the fortress. Termite reinforcements arrive from below. For once, the driver ant army is outnumbered. Those that are still alive retreat from the underground battlefield, leaving behind the dead and dying. The immense driver ant army has been defeated. Strength in numbers has saved the termite queen and her loyal subjects. Until the next siege of their natural fortress. If you find yourself looking down one of these murderous maws, say goodbye, because it's probably the last thing you'll ever see. As temperatures rise, so does the danger. In the jungles, rainforests, and tropics all over the world, predators turn up the heat. The Amazon of South America, the greatest rainforest on Earth. A haven for creatures of the trees and a paradise for terrestrial predators. But for half the year, this primeval jungle is invaded by water. Aquatic predators invade the canopy, and all the rules change. Each year around November, everything changes in the Amazon rainforest. Torrential rains cause 1,000 rivers to overflow their banks and flood vast areas. Over 100,000 square miles of jungle are submerged by up to 40 feet. The trees of the jungle become an eerie underwater forest. The balance of power between land and water changes. The creatures of the trees must retreat or swim, and aquatic predators invade the flooded jungle. Giant otters, also known as river wolves, up to 6 feet long, armed with sharp teeth and highly intelligent. During these wet months, they're among the top carnivores of the Amazon. They may look cute, but if you're a fish, they're your worst nightmare. Just like their namesake on the land, river wolves hunt as a pack. Giant otters eat 10% of their body weight in fresh fish every day, over 2 pounds worth. Their powerful jaws chomp through scales and bone. The otter's leftovers soon attract an animal whose very name creates terror: the dreaded piranha. It's inspired Hollywood horror movies and a million campfire tales. But how much of their horrifying reputation is true? As a pack, piranha take on prey 10 times their size. As the rivers crest their banks and flood the land, piranha follow. The rain brings a bumper crop of prey. Great white egrets, nesting in the only dry place left. Awkward young egrets aren't ready to fly, so if they lose their balance, they're goners. Like sharks, piranha have sensors that detect other creatures' movements. Once blood is shed, piranha can detect a drop of blood from 2 miles away. Thrashing only draws more piranha. All that's left is pillow stuffing. Their name comes from 2 native words, pira, meaning fish, and ana, meaning teeth. And no wonder. Their teeth are triangular, interlocking, and dense. And so sharp, they can cut a steel fishing line. But the fish with the monstrous reputation is actually small. On average, about as long as a pencil. So piranha school for the same reasons other fish do. Safety in numbers. When rivers are high, food is plentiful. But beware the dry season. As the land dries out, rivers retreat into oxbows and ponds. Confined to a natural fishbowl, piranha will go after anything they can sink their teeth into. Injured piranha are quickly cannibalized. As for those legendary attacks on humans, rare, and no one has ever documented a human being killed by a piranha attack. Piranhas may be the most infamous, but there are many other kinds of strange and dangerous fish in these waters. When the floodwaters come again, land animals climb to safety. During the dry season, this insect had to evade monkeys and birds trying to eat it. But now, there's a whole new league of predators after it, attacking from unexpected directions. The arowana fish is also known as the water monkey. Usually they eat smaller fish, but during the Great Amazon Flood, their menu options expand. A hungry 3-foot-long arowana patrols close to the surface, scanning for prey. Once locked onto its target, it launches itself like a missile and makes a meal of an unsuspecting land dweller. But when it comes to being an elite predator, size is truly everything. The biggest predatory fish in the flooded Amazon is the legendary pirarucu. Fully grown, they can be 10 feet long and weigh 400 pounds, one of the largest freshwater fish in the world. Pirarucu lurk in the shadows, then snatch their prey with blinding speed. Victims on the surface are sucked into their mouths by a whirlpool. There is no escape. It's survived and stalked these waters since the time of the dinosaurs. Its success comes from primitive but life-saving abilities. Pirarucu are one of the very few fish that can directly breathe air. They surface like marine mammals and gulp in a big mouthful. Even when waters dry up or become dangerously low in oxygen, the giant fish can still survive and hunt. In fact, they are so dependent on breathing air, they will drown if they stay underwater too long. After 6 months of aquatic creatures dominating the flooded jungle, the tables slowly turn. The rain dries up, and so does the forest. Water levels drop by 40 feet in some places. Monkeys and other terrestrial animals return. Predatory fish must retreat to the permanent rivers before it's too late. Fearsome hunters flap helplessly and slowly die, leaving a feast for black vultures and other scavengers of the land. This piranha goes down fighting. Predators of the land regain their dominance until next year, when the floods return. In the southern jungles, there is a stealthy predator that turns up the heat in unusual ways. The jaguar. This tropical cat has one very uncat-like characteristic. He likes to swim. The jaguar lives throughout South and Central America. But no matter what the region, you'll always find this feline down by the waterfront. An excellent swimmer, he cruises through the water to hunt his surprising food of choice: fish. Today, however, the jaguar is going for a meal with more fat on it. With a keen sense of sight, he spots something moving across a small pond. The peccary takes notice of the jaguar, but goes back to his own business. After all, why would he worry? There's a whole body of water between them. And cats don't swim, right? Silently, he glides to the other side, within striking distance of his unsuspecting meal. His con successful. A hearty meal for the aqua cat. But even the best grifters can pick the wrong mark. In the world's largest swamp, the tables are often turned on a fearsome aquatic reptile. These waterways are the domain of the caiman. Caiman are powerful predators, but in this steamy blend of land and water, they're not the top of the food chain. A full-grown jaguar is also a formidable predator. They've been known to eat over 85 different species of prey on both land and in the water, including the caiman. The stealthy cat spots a caiman sunning itself. The reptile basks, unaware death is approaching on silent paws. The caiman is no match for the immensely powerful jaguar. The jaguar sinks its canines into the reptile's skull and crushes it with one bite, a trademark move and unique among the big cats. In this swampy battlefield, you never know if you're on the menu. There are 10 million caiman in Brazil's Pantanal. Mostly, they eat fish. But today, he's got his eye on something bigger. A capybara, the world's biggest rodent. The capybara's only defense is to flee. It has no chance against the agile and speedy reptile. With a full belly, the caiman rests and digests, unaware that it's being watched by another cold-blooded killer that lurks in this vast quagmire. The yellow anaconda, huge and powerful, up to 15 feet long. He's a stealthy, solitary hunter that is fully at home in the water. He silently stalks and ambushes the caiman from below. The anaconda relentlessly tightens its grip, squeezing away the helpless caiman's last few breaths. The snake's reward is a belly that won't need filling for months. In this deadly swamp, the hunter can easily become the hunted. But there is an even bigger danger waiting to surface. Hot and steamy summers in South America bring out the big predators. But one of the biggest is the green anaconda. This is one of the most massive snakes on Earth. It weighs over 200 pounds and measures close to 20 feet long. To support this bulk, it spends almost all of its time in and around water. Here, it can use stealth to its advantage. Camouflaged to blend into plant-choked water, the anaconda usually waits for prey to come to it. But when it's hungry, it searches for a meal. On the flooded plain, the anaconda is another predator with a taste for capybara. The capybara's diet consists of mostly aquatic plants, so they spend a lot of time near water. prime hunting ground for the anaconda. Underwater, it can stalk without being seen, poking its head up just long enough to gauge the distance. Then it waits, lying in ambush. The capybara is within range. The anaconda strikes, latching on with 6 rows of teeth, coiling itself around the large rodent. Every time the capybara exhales, the anaconda tightens its grip. It constricts the blood flow to the capybara's heart, causing cardiac arrest. The anaconda can't tear its prey apart, so it has to somehow fit the entire 4-foot meal into its stomach at one time. Its lower jaw is not fused to its skull. The jaw separates in the middle, and flexible ligaments permit the jaw to open extra wide. The remarkably elastic jaw and teeth that bend backward allow the anaconda to engulf its prey in one gigantic bite. It's a huge meal. The anaconda will rest, digesting its catch for more than 2 weeks. A capybara this size will satisfy it for months, but eventually it will need to feed again. And nothing will be safe from the ultimate death squeeze. The anaconda isn't the only big-time solitary hunter in the tropics. An impressive symbol of grace, confidence, and power. This superior hunter rules his sweltering domain. The Royal Bengal Tiger. And no one is going to cramp his style. A real loner. He not only lives by himself, but aggressively marks wide swaths of territory to keep others away. But whether you want to call him antisocial or just self-reliant, there's at least one activity where this cat needs to be around other animals. When he's killing them. He heads out on the hunt, and since he only eats about every 9 days, it better be something big. With 100 unique black stripes, he creeps undetected through the tall grass. His razor-sharp sense of hearing picks up movement nearby. A cheetle deer, who today chose the wrong path. He creeps forward until he's about 20 to 30 feet away. Then he makes his move. This audience can only watch as the Bengal clutches the cheetal with his canine teeth. And he takes him off to eat, alone, just how he likes it. It's not just the big guns who can turn up the heat in these steamy settings. Chameleons use camouflage for both offense and defense in their environments. The newborn is vulnerable. It could make an easy meal for a snake. It seeks protection immediately. Strong natural instincts guide this master of disguise. With a relatively thin and flat body and skin color that can adjust to its surroundings, predators often mistake it for either a leaf or an extension of a tree branch. The ruse continues when it travels. Jerky back and forth movements once again mimic a fluttering leaf, concealing it not only from predators, but also prey. Its eyes move nearly 180 degrees independently to target its victims. Once in range, it strikes. Camouflage is only one part of its arsenal. A chameleon's tongue is a concealed weapon. Adult chameleons can reach 27 inches in length. And their tongues may grow 1.5 times the length of their bodies. The knob-like tip is coated in mucus that sticks to prey. It strikes faster than you can see in real time. This hit took about 30 thousandths of a second. The chameleon isn't the only tropical hunter to come in a small, weird package. This tree dweller, called a tarsier, may look like the illegitimate love child of an owl and an Ewok. But don't let his looks deceive you. His gravity-defying aerial skills make him one of the most successful hunters in the animal world. Tarsiers are primates and related to humans. The resemblance is best seen in the animal's hands. But they have an appetite their cousins can't match. They're the only entirely carnivorous primate in the world. Which means to survive, a tarsier better be a good hunter. And that's where his agility comes in handy. The tarsier's legs make up about 1/4 of the weight of their entire body. And the tarsal heel bone on their feet is so long, it gives the animal its name. Add in the long tapered hands for gripping, and you have a predator capable of soaring over 16 feet from branch to branch. Hunting mainly at night, the tarsier uses mobile ears and extra-large eyes to spot prey. Once targeted, he waits for the right moment to make his deadly leap. He's not quite a crouching tiger or hidden dragon, but he gets the job done. Deep in the tropical rainforests of Asia lives a majestic assortment of orchids. They seem to be nothing but harmless blossoms. But look closer. This beauty is hiding a deadly, stealthy killer. This is the orchid mantis. While this praying mantis can blend with green leaves to ambush prey, the orchid mantis has taken it up a notch. Known as aggressive mimicry, it's the only insect known to disguise itself as a flower, which actually lures prey. And the way it works is pure ninja stealth. The mantis imitates the texture and color of the orchid's petals, which attracts insects who think it's a harmless flower to pollinate. To keep up the charade and avoid detection, it remains as still as possible, rotating only its head to get a better look at prey. While the orchid mantis has a large appetite and eats an array of insects, it is a selective hunter. So patience is a key part of this mantis's stealthy strategy. It's not going to blow its cover for this sapsucker. Those sticky threads would be unpleasant to eat. But this moth is ripe for the picking. It's using its front legs, which are covered in dagger-like spines, to snare the moth and stake it down. The ninja disguise is so successful, scientists believe the orchid mantis is better at attracting pollinator insects than actual orchids. Who would have thought such a beauty could be so beastly? And it's not just the islands of Asia that have deadly insects. In Hawaii, the dense foliage hides the surprising lethal exploits of a carnivorous caterpillar. This inchworm looks harmless. He's tiny, inches about slowly, and he's a caterpillar. What's to fear? After all, they only eat leaves, right? Wrong. Over the last few millennia, of the over 160,000 species of caterpillar in the world, less than 1% evolved into carnivores. And our guy is one of them. But his victims, usually bugs, haven't quite caught on. Not that we blame them. The Hawaiian caterpillar is running a pretty good con, with 2 tricks up his sleeve. First, he has an amazing ability to camouflage himself to look like a leaf or part of a tree branch. Prey has no idea they're in danger, which is just what the caterpillar is betting on when he unleashes his second trick. A whip-fast motion, bending his body to snatch its meal in raptor claws, holding it captive while the caterpillar feasts. The victim never saw what hit him. They're found worldwide, and ounce for ounce are among the most destructive forces in nature. They are ants. An estimated 10,000 trillion thrive across the planet. Army ants in the jungle of the Amazon don't settle down in a nest. Instead, they create a living bivouac around 500,000 strong. And every day, that giant horde gets hungry. The ants march out in a massive raid, but they're not looking for food. They're sensing it. Each worker in this unstoppable eating machine is blind. But nothing in their path is safe. Massive mandibles and piercing stings allow the ants to overwhelm and dismember their targets. Even large animals. In one day, the horde can kill 30,000 prey. It's teamwork on a deadly scale. On the other side of the planet, in another ocean, the island of Madagascar is home to bizarre plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth, including the tomato frog. No prizes for guessing how it got its name. That bright color is a warning. One that this hog-nosed snake would be wise to heed. The frog inflates itself to be as large as possible. But the hungry snake attacks anyway. When that fails, the frog secretes a sticky ooze and gives the hognose a mouthful it won't forget. It's not fatal, but this natural glue gums the snake's mouth up and makes it tough to eat anything for a while. That's one way to get out of a sticky situation. The tomato frog isn't the only animal chemist on Madagascar. Giant millipedes are harmless, unless you try to mess with them. When threatened, they squirt noxious, foul-smelling chemicals like natural pepper spray. It's enough to deter most animals, but there's one case where this chemical counterstrike backfires. Black lemurs seem to have an addiction to giant millipedes. The lemurs nibble on them just enough to release the chemical defense, then rub the noxious fluid through their fur in a frenzy. They're not poisoning themselves. They're applying a natural insect repellent. For these lemurs, a millipede a day keeps the mosquitoes away. But the chemical compound does more than just act as a bug spray. It has a narcotic effect that seems to get them high. The millipedes are released, mostly unharmed, leaving the lemurs to come down from their buzz. It's not just the jungles of Madagascar that have many-legged monsters. You might not think of centipedes as a big deal, but there are a few that are truly fearsome. A few that get ominously named giant centipedes. Of course, at just 6 to 12 inches long, giant may be in the eye of the victim, and there's nothing small about their killing prowess. This intimidating beast is the Indian giant tiger centipede, and it's a lethal predator. Giant centipedes compensate for their small size by being highly venomous. and use front legs that have evolved into powerful fangs. This centipede moves with uncanny speed, and when prey is near, it's an aggressive killer. Its column of legs wraps around its meal like a straitjacket. But the most impressively terrifying of them all is the Amazonian giant centipede. At night, this leggy monster stalks into a cave and slowly climbs the walls. Its target? Bats. It creeps across the ceiling, finds a low-hanging perch, and then it's bye-bye Batty. This venomous predator doesn't just stalk the caves of the American tropics. And out of 3,000 species of centipedes, it's the Leviathan, a truly giant centipede. More than 11 inches long. Through a pair of sharp pincers, it delivers a toxic brew of venom that attacks the nervous system. Painful to humans, lethal to prey. It's armed for defense as well as offense, with sharp hooks on the rear legs. It breathes partly through holes in its body, making it prone to dehydration. So it prefers to hunt by night. And this centipede will eat just about anything: spiders, birds, rodents, frogs, and lizards. Despite its name, it has 46 legs at most, not 100. But they grip like a mountain climber's pitons. Maybe better prospects can be found on the ground. Rodents are a favorite. To keep nursing her young, this mother will sooner or later have to go find food herself. Her babies are blind, weak, and defenseless. The centipede is nearly blind as well, but its antenna can detect the tiniest of movements. Sensing the mother's return, the centipede beats a hasty retreat. But it's too late. Her baby's been killed with one heart-stopping injection of venom. And the centipede is off again, in search of a meal. They may be giants among their kind, but this small predator's real size lies in its ability to kill. Whether you're on a tropical island, in the swamps of Brazil, or in the forests in Asia or Africa, these sweltering hotspots are downright deadly.